It is the winter of 1942. The Eastern Front, temperature minus 30 degrees Celsius. 3 million German soldiers are locked in the most brutal land war in human history against an enemy that seems to have no end. And German soldiers are losing, not because they lack courage, not because they lack training. They're losing because their weapons are wrong. Their bolt-action rifles are accurate, but painfully slow. After every shot, a soldier must reach up, grab the bolt, cycle it manually, and re-aim. In close combat, at 50 meters, against an enemy with a weapon that fires 20 rounds without stopping, that extra second is the difference between life and death. One man believed he had the answer, a weapons designer from a small German town, a man whose name you probably don't know, but whose idea you have seen in the hands of soldiers in every war, every conflict, every battlefield in the world ever since. And the most extraordinary part of his story? The most powerful man in Germany tried to stop him. To understand why what happened next was so revolutionary, you need to understand the problem German soldiers faced. In 1942, the standard German infantryman carried the Karabiner 98K, a bolt-action rifle chambered in 7.92 millimeter, accurate to 500 meters, dependable, lethal, but bolt-action, meaning after every single shot, stop, reach up, cycle the bolt, reacquire the target, maximum rate of fire, 15 rounds per minute if you were well trained and calm. Nobody is calm in a firefight. The alternative was the MP-40 submachine gun, fast, fires 32 rounds before reloading, but it fired pistol-caliber ammunition, weak, inaccurate beyond 100 meters, useless at the ranges where most Eastern Front combat happened. Meanwhile, Soviet soldiers were carrying the PPSH-41, a submachine gun that fired up to 900 rounds per minute. At close quarters, it was catastrophic. German commanders on the Eastern Front began sending desperate requests back to Berlin. We need something new, something that can do everything. Rifle accuracy, submachine gun speed in one weapon. Nobody in Berlin was listening, except one man. Hugo Schmeisser was born in 1884 in Jena, Germany. He came from a family of weapons makers. His father was a respected gunsmith. By the time World War I ended, Schmeisser had already designed some of the most innovative weapons of that era. But his most important idea would come in the early 1940s. Schmeisser asked a question that seems obvious only in hindsight. Why did a rifle cartridge need to be powerful enough to kill at 600 meters when almost all infantry combat happened at under 300 meters? The answer was, didn't. He designed a new shorter cartridge, the 7.92 by 33 millimeter Kurz. Kurz meaning short, more powerful than a pistol round, less powerful and lighter than a full rifle round. The perfect compromise. Then he built a weapon around it. Gas-operated action, meaning the gas from each fired round automatically cycled the next. 30-round curved magazine. Selective fire, single shot for accuracy, full automatic for suppression. Weight, 5.1 kilograms. Effective range, 300 meters. He called it the Machine Pistole 43, the MP-43, and in secret trials, it was devastating. Soldiers who tested it reported the same thing. This weapon does everything. This is what we need. There was just one obstacle standing between this weapon and the Eastern Front: Adolf Hitler. Hitler was a man with strong opinions about weapons. He believed in power at long range. He wanted rifles that could engage enemies at 600 meters. He had no interest in a weapon designed for close-range combat, which he associated with weakness, with retreat. When he learned about the MP-43 project, he shut it down completely. Production orders canceled. Development stopped immediately. And here is where the story becomes extraordinary. The German army disobeyed him. Senior Wehrmacht officers, aware of the desperate need on the Eastern Front, continued production in secret. They disguised the weapon under new designation to keep it off Hitler's radar. They shipped thousands to frontline units under false paperwork. By 1943, the weapon was reaching soldiers in significant numbers. Commanders were reporting extraordinary results. Units equipped with the MP-43 were performing better in close combat than any comparable German formation. Then came the meeting that changed everything. In late 1943, Hitler summoned a group of Eastern Front commanders to brief him on what they needed most. One by one, they stood up and gave him the same answer, using the same words: Mehr von dieser Waffe, more of this weapon. They were holding the MP-43, the weapon he had banned. Hitler's reaction: fury, then confusion, then a demand for a demonstration. He watched it fire. He saw the accuracy, the rate of fire, the versatility. He held it, he tested it, and he changed his mind. Not only did he approve mass production, he renamed it personally. The new name would reflect its purpose and its power. Sturmgewehr, the storm rifle, the assault rifle. The world had a new word and a new era of warfare. In combat, by 1944, the Sturmgewehr 44 was flowing to frontline units, and its impact was immediate and documented. German units equipped with the STG 44 reported that one man with this weapon could effectively replace 2 or 3 soldiers previously needed to cover different combat roles. The machine gunner, the rifleman, the submachine gunner. The STG 44 combined all 3. Soviet commanders filed alarmed intelligence reports about the new German weapon. American officers who captured early examples rushed them back to Washington for urgent analysis. Everyone who studied it reached the same conclusion: this is the future of infantry combat. But history had already made its decision about the war. By 1944, Germany was collapsing. Allied bombing was destroying factories. Raw materials were running out. Trained soldiers were dying faster than they could be replaced. Approximately 425,000 STG-44s were produced. Impressive, but a fraction of what was needed to change the outcome of a war that was already decided. The STG-44 was a masterpiece, deployed by a dying army 1 year too late. The legacy. After Germany surrendered in May 1945, the Allies divided Europe, and in Seoul, the city where Hugo Schmeisser had designed the STG-44, Soviet forces arrived and did something very deliberate. They arrested Hugo Schmeisser. They transported him, along with several of his engineers, to the Soviet city of Izhevsk, the exact same city where Mikhail Kalashnikov was developing a new Soviet rifle. Schmeisser worked in Izhevsk for 7 years before being allowed to return to Germany, where he died in 1953. What exact influence did Schmeisser have on the AK-47? The debate has never been fully resolved. Kalashnikov always maintained the design was entirely his own. Historians point to striking similarities: the intermediate cartridge concept, curved magazine, the general operating principle, and suggest the influence was significant. What is beyond debate is this: the STG-44 proved to the entire world that the assault rifle concept was correct, and every military in every country spent the next decade designing their own version: the M16, the AK-47, the FN-FAL, the G3, the HK-416, the M4. Every combat rifle carried by every soldier on every battlefield today is a direct descendant of Hugo Schmeisser's idea, born from desperation on the Eastern Front, built in defiance of Hitler's orders, proven in the most brutal war in human history. The Sturmgewehr 44 did not win World War II. The war was decided by logistics, by industrial capacity, by the sheer weight of Allied force. But it won something arguably more lasting. It won the future of warfare. Every soldier who picks up a rifle today carries, in some form, in some design choice, in some fundamental philosophy, the legacy of a German engineer who asked a simple question in the middle of the worst war the world had ever seen: what does a soldier actually need? That is the story of the STG-44. If this gave you something new, hit like, subscribe for the next video in this series, dropping very soon: the AK-47, the weapon that took Schmeisser's idea and gave it to the entire world. I'll see you there.